Hello, today we're going to be adding T1 WAN connections to our topology. We're going to be adding a serial link from router 1 to router 2 to router 3, and these are the serial ports we're going to be using. Router 1, we're going to use serial 030 connected to router 2's serial 020, router 2's serial 000 connected to router 3's serial 020. And since we're making this a WAN connection, we're going to use some public IP addresses. We're going to use the 12.12.12.0/30 and then the 12.12.12.4/30 for router 2 to router 3. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. And let's talk a little bit about T1 WIC cards. So T1 WAN interface cards. First, you have your traditional T1s, which look like VGAs. And then you have your RJ45 jack style T1s, and then you have your dual T1 controllers. And in this video, we're going to focus mainly on these two T1s because that's all I have. And most importantly is the cabling. Your cabling T1 crossover cables has to look exactly like this. 1, 2, 4, and 5 have to look exactly like this on either ends. 3, 6, 7, and 8, you can put whatever, you can cut it off, it's up to you. And we're going to go ahead and show enabling of T1 controllers. But before we do that, let's take a look at our network lab.
Alright, so we know what our topology looks like and which ports we're going to be plugging our cables in. Let's get to the physical stuff. Alright, so I'm going to look at my trusty post-it note. Router 1's serial 030 to router 2's serial 020. Okay, how do I know where serial 030 is? Simple. Everything is labeled. This is HWIC 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's going to always start with a 0. So it'll be 0, and then I'm going to go to the 3 and 0 because there's only 1. And controller is the one that has dual T1s. It'll be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Same thing with router 2. 0, 0, 0, only 1 T1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, 1. Same thing with router 3. Now, if I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't look into this, I would, like most people, just create a regular crossover cable. And it'll look something like this. I don't know if you can really tell, but there's a difference. And I would go ahead and just plug it in. Now, I won't know if it's going to work or what's going to actually happen. But to really find out if you got the right cable, this is how you would know. Take it off. I'm going to grab an actual T1 crossover cable. Plug it in. And immediately I get green lights on both sides. Both green CD lights, which means carrier detect, and that will let me know right away that I have the right type of cable. That doesn't necessarily mean that the card itself is good. It could actually still be bad, but at least you know you got the right cable in. Alright, now let's see what our cable's connections were. So we look at this again. So we're going to connect R1's 030 to R2's 020 right here. And I have a longer one just for that. There we go. Here we go. Alright. You can see both green lights. Now zero 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 from R2 to 020 from R3. Green lights all around, which is a good sign. There's a reason why I'm not using this one is because for some reason I couldn't get it to work. I'm guessing the whole card is bad, and I'm using this port of router 3 because this one is giving me errors, and I'll show you guys a little bit of how you can check the errors and see what's happening, and a little bit of troubleshooting. I'll go through that. So now we've seen the physical part of it and everything looks good. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the configuring of the T1 controllers.
Alright, so now that we've seen what we're going to do, let's go ahead and log in into our routers. Get into router 1, get into router 2, and our router 3. Alright, first thing we want to do is do a quick show run. We'll kind of see what we have, and as you can see we have controller T1000, controller T1001, but nothing set up. If we do a show IP interface brief, you'll see we only have 3 usable interfaces. We do a show inventory. We'll see here exactly what we have. We have a 2-port T1 voice interface data card on slot 0, subslot 0. Now, to enable those controllers, we're going to go to config T. We're going to do controller T1, and as you can see, we're going to do this. How we know which controllers to pick. We got our options right here. Start off with 0, 0, 0, and that should be it. And then now, next we're going to do our line code. Now, there's 2 different line codes. There's AMI, which stands for alternate mark inversion. These are just different kinds of coding. Same with B8ZS, that stands for bipolar 8-0 substitution or binary 8-0 substitution. I'm not going to get into details of what the difference between the two are. If you want to know, you can kind of research that. But the common one that's mainly used today is the B8ZS. So we're going to use that. And that's it. And one thing that you should note is whatever you assign for one side, it has to be the same for the other. It cannot be mixed with one side B8ZS and the other side AMI. That won't work, and you'll get a whole bunch of errors. Next, we're going to look and we're going to do framing. So, framing, there's ESF and SF. Normally, everyone does ESF. ESF, as you can see, stands for Extended Super Frame, and SF is Super Frame. The difference between those two is that Extended Super Frame has double the amount of frames that SF has. So SF uses 12 frames while ESF uses 24, and it also enables CRC or cyclic redundancy check. So we're going to do that, and then last thing we're going to do is we're going to do channel group. So channel group, as you can tell, it can be from 0 to 23. We're just going to group it in 0. And time slots. Time slots can do a list of 1 through 24. I'm going to do 1 through 24. If you usually normally would keep this at 1 through 24 if you're using the whole T1, unless you're running a fractional T1, then you would have to pick specific channels. So in that case, I'm just going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to exit and do the other controller. 21001, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Line code B8ZS, framing is going to be ESF, channel group 0, time slots 1 through 24, exit. If I do a quick show run again, you can see now that I have 2 additional interfaces to work with. So IPINT brief. Remember, I used to have just 3, now I have 5. And the channel group is just this right here. It's this 0 that we added on. And as you can see, it's down. We don't have anything connected on here. And let's go ahead and configure the other 2 first, and then we'll come back and finish configuring these. Alright, so I just finished configuring the same thing for router 2 and router 3. Now, based on our topology, for router 1, we're going to use 0030, so that's just the single T1. I'm going to go ahead and config T, interface that. I'm going to give IP address of 12, 12, 12, 1, 255, 255, 255, 252, because it's a /30, which gives us a block of 4 and 2 available IP addresses. And just do a no shut. Alright, so we have that in. Router 2, we're going to use 0020 to connect to our router 1. IP address, we're going to use 12, 12, 12, 2, 5, 5, 205, 252. Do a no shut. And then let's check the connection between these 2. See if I can ping across. And as you can see, I can ping across to the 12, 12, 12, 1. So we know that works. And let's go, let's connect Fig T. We're going to use 0000 to connect to router 3 with an IP address of 12, 12, 12, 5, which is the next available block of 4. 255, 255, 252. No shut. Do a quick look. Okay, everything looks good. Go on to router 3. Config T. This one we're going to use 0020. So I have to do the whole thing. Give it an IP address of 12, 12, 12, 6. And no shut. And let's test see if we can ping to router 2. To the .5. And it works. Now, let's see if we can ping to router 1. Router 1 is .1. As you can see, we are unable to ping. It's in a different subnet and it's not advertised across. So I'm going to have to go into all 3 of these and advertise it into my EIGRP network. So let's go ahead and do router 1, router EIGRP 100, network. Now, we're using a total of a block of 8. If you can remember, we're only going from 0 all the way to the 7. With that being said, I can just use 12, 12, 12, 0 with the subnet mask of 255, 255, 255, 248, which is a block of 8 in the 4th octet. If you know subnetting, you know allocations, you know how this will work. And typically we should do a wildcard mask, but I can do it this way, and ERGRP will automatically turn it into wildcard. Okay, with that being done, same thing here. There's your P100. And we're just going to copy this, send it over. That's done. Same thing here. Just copy over. We check our IP route. Router 3, as you can see, it sees the 0/30. Now let's test ping. Let's ping from router 3 to router 1. As you can see, we can ping. So it's our network is all set up, but now we're gonna check our WIC cards. So in order to do that, let's see which ones are we using. Okay, we'll start with the single T1 cards. Different command from the dual T1 cards. For the single T1 cards, and this is one distinct way you can tell if it's a single or a dual. Duals will usually have this colon and then a channel number next to it. That's how you know it's a dual. Singles, they'll just look like a regular interface. They'll look like this. So from here, we're going to do a show service hyphen module 0000 performance include 1 through 9. And as you can see, I'm getting okay. Initially, I was getting errors and unavailable seconds, but that's when there was nothing connected to it yet. But for the past, these go in 15-minute intervals. So for the past 45 minutes, it's been running clean. Only problem I see is data in the current interval, which is right now. I got one line code violation. I'm getting a bunch of errors and issues, but I'm going to do a clear counters. I'm going to clear that, and then I'm going to go back and check and see if it comes clean. If not, it usually means there's something wrong with the cabling or there's something wrong with the WIC card. Router 2. Okay, so to check the controllers, which is this, the command we use is show controllers T1. And whichever one we want to do, we're only going to use this portion of it. And we're going to include 1 through 9. It's got all unavailable. Let me clear counters on this. We'll come back and check on that. And then router 3. We're just using the controller. Okay. So we're going to do a show controllers T1 020. We don't need to do that. Include 1 through 9. We'll just look at it this way. It's got a bunch of path code violations, 2 line codes, no errored seconds, which is good. 332 unavailable seconds. So we're going to do the same thing, clear counters. Now, if you're constantly incrementing errors, then you know you have an issue somewhere. Let's check this again. Or actually, let's just look at it this way. And this will tell me the overall stats. If there was a loss of signal, it'll tell me how long ago. Loss of frame, it'll tell me how long ago. Last clearing of counters, 2 minutes, 5 seconds ago. Any AIS alarms, any remote alarms, errors. As you can see, in the last 15 minutes, nothing. Fresh and clean. So in this interval, it's only been 125 seconds. It's all clean. Same thing I'm gonna check here. As you can see, it's running clean. And it's currently running clean for the past minute and 14 seconds. So just by looking at this, as of right now, I can assure myself that there's no instant errors. So, I mean, if there are going to be errors and if the errors accumulate slowly over a period of time, then there's something wrong. But usually when I'm just connecting a router to a router that are right next to each other, you won't see errors. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in one of the ports into a bad port and I'll show you the difference. And I'll be right back with that. Alright, so I'm back. What I went was I quickly unplugged the port from 0000 and plugged it to 021, which I checked earlier today. It was giving me errors. I want to show you something. I'm not sure if this is the right one, but I'm going to double check. So I just cleared the counters, so it should all be clean. Right here, 52 slip seconds, 52 error seconds. And if I keep doing that, it's constantly accumulating these. As you can see. Now, when you see something like this, how do you determine what is wrong? Is it the whole T1, the whole dual controller card? Is it the cable or is it just the port? Well, this is how I can check. I just checked the other one. The other one's clean. So I know it's not that. Now, and so I know it's not the whole dual port controller card. Now, is it the cable? Well, let's check what that T1021 is connected to. That is on router 3's 0020. So what am I seeing? Oh, I know why I'm getting all those. I accumulated those because I unplugged the connection to router 2 and now it accumulated those. Okay, now we're back to normal. Same cable connected to router 3. This is connected to router 2. As you can see, it can't be the cable because if it was the cable, both sides would be getting it. And as you can see earlier, when it was connected to 0000, it was running clean, it was running fine, everything was good. See, everything's still running good. And that's kind of how you can kind of troubleshoot these T1 circuits. The real way to troubleshoot them is you would have to use T1 testing tools and applications. Those are more accurate. These are kind of hard to tell because if you see slip seconds, error seconds, you don't know exactly where it's coming from. But in my case, I knew where it was coming from because I tested it earlier and I just showed you guys the process of elimination. That's how you can kind of know. And well, that's all I have for today's video. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if it helped you out and subscribe for more up and coming videos. My next few videos, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a lot of configurations. I'm probably going to talk more about things you need to know in the world of networking. Those will be coming up. And again, thanks for watching.